Hello, everyone. I am here with Claire Doyle to talk about a very, very important subject that we all know about. If we live in Isle-Madame or kind of everywhere, Woodland Angelica. So, Claire, tell me what's going on.
Tell you what's going on.
Yeah.
Well, first I want to thank you for the invitation. And I'm with the Isle-Madame Garden Club. I'm the president of the Isle-Madame Garden Club. So we're just kind of really starting up our club. And last year, we had talked a lot about Woodland Angelica at our meetings. And so we had tabled that and said, well, in the spring, we're actually going to do we're going to have a public conversation on the Woodland Angelica. So I contacted you, and you know, I put it out there, and we're going to have a meeting. We're going to have a meeting at La Picasse, and it's going to be on Thursday, on June the 15th at 7 p.m. It's going to be a meeting on Zoom, and yeah, so we're kind of hoping, and we have it open to our members, but we also have it open to the general public.
Right. So the public can go and sit in on this meeting.
Yep.
And a very important meeting.
Yes, I would think so, because
Yeah.
I think right now, the whole of Isle-Madame has been infested with this Woodland Angelica.
Yeah, and it's only going to get worse.
Yes, it is. It's going to get worse because, my gosh, it puts out a bloom in the month of July and August and September, and it puts out seeds like you would not believe. So
Right, and now you are going to be having Nova Scotia Invasive Species Council come in to speak.
yes, we contacted them, and they're going to send out not send out because they're a not-for-profit organization, and they kind of work for the whole province. They have specialists, you know, that volunteer their work with the council. So, but they do have an outreach worker, and that's the outreach worker that's going to be our guest speaker. Mm-hmm. His name is Houston Grimshaw Surrett, and he will speak to us via Zoom at La Picasse that day. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure he's going to have some enlightening information.
I would think so. I would think so. Yeah. And maybe what I'll do is maybe give a little brief history of the research that I did, but I'm not a specialist. He is. And I think if anybody has that invasive species around him, that the Woodland Angelica around them, and they really want to know more about the Angelica, they really need to come to that meeting, you know, and ask questions, because there's going to be a Q&A session there, and you can ask all the questions you want, and they might be able to enlighten us as to what we're going to do with this, all of a sudden, this immense amount of Angelica that's around us.
Yeah.
It's massive. It's massive.
And hopefully that person can answer questions or actually get rid of some of the rumors that get spread about its uses and whatever.
Yeah.
You know,
true.
I mean, I've heard many things about Angelica over the years, and I mean, you know, it's just been growing and growing and growing. I've often heard, you know, we should be harvesting it. Well, why aren't we?
Yeah.
Is my question.
Yes.
You know, what are its uses? What, you know, that
Yeah.
kind of thing. So that person would probably be able to answer all those questions and, you know, put some theories to rest, perhaps, or maybe come up with a notion that it can be used. I don't know, right? I'm not an expert either. I just know that it annoys me like it annoys the other residents.
Well, yes, because it just keeps on spreading, and it's so massive now that it's ruining our landscape.
Right.
And it's invasive. It's moved into our woodlands.
Right.
And you know, there's a lady that lives in Little Anse that told us at one of our meetings that she she goes about every day to go in that woodland in the back of Little Ants to actually cut some of these and this Angelica down, and she's been putting them in bags and so on. But she said it's like a big effort. It's like massive, and so some people are saying it's crowding out the blueberry vines because it grows so tall. So yes, we do have a problem.
And I wonder, would that affect our wildlife? I don't know, right? Like, I mean, that's another question.
Well, it does, and it does when you think that once it starts to crowd out a lot of the food chain.
Right.
It's the foods are going to die.
Right.
You know, the berries are going to die, and so yes,
Yeah.
it's you know, it does have an overall effect on our environment. That's for sure.
So how did it get here?
How did it get here? Well, let's go into a little bit of the history, right?
Oh, yes.
I guess you could say that the Angelica is a love and hate relationship
Right.
because the plant is edible.
Oh.
Yeah, you can actually do a lot of things with that plant. So it says in the research that I did, some say that the seed was carried across the Atlantic when the settlers came here from Europe, that they actually brought the seed with them for food and for medicine.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's something that people are saying.
Right.
And someone told me a few days ago when we had a conversation on Angelica that the seed was used to stuff mattresses in the ships that came to Louisburg many, many years ago.
Wow.
And likely the seeds kind of got dumped in the ocean.
Of
you know?
course.
Yeah.
Of course, and they would.
And then the seeds got washed ashore. And that's, you know, the seeds have been here for a long time. The plant has been here for a long time. But the Nova Scotia Invasive Species Council says that it comes from a wide range of human activity. Well, just what we mentioned is human activity, you know.
Right,
so,
right.
And the movement in our economy, you know, the bringing things over,
Right.
you know, bringing
Trading.
the agriculture
Right.
and the container ships and all of that, eh? So the movement of the economy itself could have brought that here. And then once it got here, it just spreads naturally. It's just...
Does it ever?
Yeah, it really spreads naturally. So the Woodland Angelica is familiar to the Queen Anne's lace that you see just along the highways.
Right.
Yeah, when it first starts up.
Right.
It's hard to identify.
Yeah.
They're very similar.
Yeah, people do get mixed up.
And people can get mixed up with
yep.
it. Yeah. And a lot of people still don't really know. They know that the plant is there. The plant grows in their drains and the ditches along the highways and maybe on their properties, in their woodlands, in their backyards, but they don't really know what the plant is.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So they don't know much about the plant.
Right.
They know it's pretty. In the month of July and August and September, it grows really quite tall. It can fill up a big space. And that flower just kind of blooms for a couple of months. So it is pretty that way. But yeah, so it's also a perennial. I found out that it was a perennial plant. That's just, it grows, it's a kind of a biannual, I'd say. It grows and it just gets its seeds ready to grow again. So it's continuous bloom, you know, because the seeds themselves redo themselves.
And you can get pretty tall too.
Ooh, do they ever get
Right.
tall? Yeah, yeah, they can get as tall as we are. Yeah. And it's in the family of the carrot.
Whoa,
Yeah, isn't that interesting?
that is interesting.
It's in the family of the carrot, it's in the family of the celery, the parsnip, and the coriander. Yeah, so it's in that family, right?
Wow.
Yeah. And there are many different varieties of Angelica, according as you know to where you're at and your location and so on. And there are many different varieties, much more like plants, you know. So, and the plant is edible. The plant is edible. So it's edible too. In Quebec, they They almost have an industry in Quebec. A lot of people will dry the seed. I noticed that I went on the website and found out that you can buy seeds from Quebec. People sell seeds. And there is, so you could almost say that there's an industry out there, like people are harvesting and reselling the seed. And the seed is used for consumption. It's used for making many different things, you know, for making medicine. And so it's kind of interesting. That's why I'm saying it's a love and hate relationship.
Right, it is interesting
Yeah.
because it would be really great, you know, for economic renewal to have such an industry.
You better believe
here.
it. Yeah, yeah. And some people did say, you know, we should be harvesting it.
Where would you? But you have to have a plan.
Well, you'd have to have, if it was, if you were to harvest it, you'd have to do it.
And a facility.
And a facility to dry, to
Right.
dry, yeah.
You would have to have all
Yeah,
of that in
yeah,
place.
yeah.
But that's interesting.
But it's
concept.
interesting, yes.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Could be
That
money
we
growing in
have-
your backyard.
That we have an opportunity to develop a business here because,
Right.
I mean, we have so much of it, right?
Agreed.
Yeah. So, but it also contains a toxin.
Right.
It says that it causes irritation if you touch it, and you really should be using gloves if you were to cut it down or do anything with it. So it's robust. It says that it's and it has invaded the eastern part of Nova Scotia. It's not right through all of the province, but
Yet.
it's in our part. It's in
Yeah.
mostly in our part of the province.
Right.
It's also in some parts of the provinces of New Brunswick and now in Quebec.
Right.
And it's moved into Ontario
Right.
because it keeps spreading, and maybe the birds are spreading it too, you know,
Could be.
because I'm sure the birds are using that seed, you know,
course, yeah.
in the fall of the
Yeah.
year. It likes moisture, it says. It grows in ditches, and it grows in large, large swaths. You know, when it grows, when you hardly see one plant. When there's one plant, there's like 100 plants, you know. And so, I also read somewheres what one plant can produce thousands and thousands of seeds.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and then
Wow.
the wind catches it, the birds eat it, you know, it kind of drops, regrows itself. It's an amazing, strong, really, really strong plant. Yeah, you know.
Resilient.
Yeah, resilient, you're right.
Yeah.
Also, I read that the plant is widely used for culinary and medicinal purposes. Culinary, now that's kind of interesting, eh?
Well,
Wouldn't it be nice to get one of our chefs to
experiment.
experiment and kind of take that seed in the fall and cook some dishes up,
see what comes out of it.
see what comes out of
Could
it.
be something that becomes, you know, native to us.
Yes,
Right.
yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
That's a great
absolutely.
idea.
Yeah, right. So, but I like this line because it's angelic.
Right.
The plant was revealed to the 14th century physician Matthias Sylvaticus by the archangel Michael
Wow.
as a medicinal plant.
Well,
Isn't that something?
interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
But
what we do know, Becky,
yeah,
is that
yeah.
it is negatively impacting our environment here on Ilmadan.
Right.
And, you know, we really need to do something about it. And by opening up the conversation with the community, maybe something will come out of it. If just learning about it and learning how to treat it, you know, and maybe if you want to eliminate it or if you want to do something, even controlling it on just your own property and your own area.
Right.
And you never know, like, you know, I see people today take on the responsibility of cleaning up, doing like a spring cleaning
yeah.
and the municipality does heavy cleaning, that sort of stuff. maybe down the road our community will take on the challenge of doing a SWAT cleaning, you
Yes,
know,
I
and
was
then
thinking,
maintaining
yeah.
it or something.
Yeah, you could have like a whole weekend of it.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
You
yeah,
know?
Yeah. But it's awareness. It's awareness and education.
Right.
And I think that's where our club would like for the community to engage themselves in is to learn about this very invasive plant and see if we can do something to at least control it.
Yep.
Because it is, we certainly don't want to lose our native plants, our blueberries and all of our edible plants, you know, that are out there that people are picking in the fall of the year. And
the way things are going, you know, we're going to be doing a lot more of that, I think.
yes, yeah. My niece told me a few years ago that she identified quite a few of the native plants in Ilmadam, and we have some very, very important plants that could be in the numbers of about 30 different species of native plants that we have here on the island.
Wow.
And probably, you know, you won't find those plants anywhere else.
Right. Wow,
Yeah.
that's really...
Yeah, so
we
that's
could do
really,
a whole nother show on that one.
yes, and we really need to protect them.
Oh,
you know,
yes,
so,
absolutely.
Yeah, so we have to kind of take on that challenge.
Absolutely. And I'm just saying you're a hero, Claire. For you guys
Well-
are, you
well,
know,
it's-
I
it's the
respect
club,
I
yeah.
respect the garden club
Yeah.
for these reasons.
For the
You know.
incentive to kind of get it out there
Well,
in the
you know,
public.
the younger people don't understand.
No.
And this may actually be something that the younger people will take on.
Sure.
I'm hoping.
Yeah,
I really hope.
yeah.
Because it's important that you know what's around you.
Yeah, because I mean, it is the Woodland Angelica it's on private land, but it's also you know, it's also in spaces where the municipality has Angelica on their drains, in their gardens, on their lawns. And you know, it's everybody's concern.
It's a community
Yeah, it's a
issue.
community effort.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a community effort.
So now, just so everybody knows, if you have the time, and I would suggest, you know, really going and listening and asking questions to make sure that you go to La Picasse on Thursday, June 15th at 7 p.m. The Zoom presentation will be in English.
Yes, it's going to be in English. Yes,
Right.
yeah.
And you have something else happening too, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
On the second activity that we have planned for June is on the 17th. It's on Saturday at the Rocky Bay Hall, and it's at 1:30. And we're going to have a plant swap.
Cool.
Yeah, we're going to have a plant swap. We're going to not only have a plant swap, but we're going to have a plant sale.
Awesome.
Yeah, and we're going to have a little meeting, but we want to open it up to all the plant lovers out there on
And there are
Almadam.
lots of
There are a
them.
lot of people who just love planting and love flowers. And maybe they might have, there might be something at the plant sale that they might be interested in buying. But we're also going to have a conversation around the table. We're going to make a fun afternoon, you know. They might learn some things, and they'll get to meet the other people who, you know, are in the club, and anybody
join.
that just kind of, yeah, and anybody that's a plant lover. And if they wanted to join, even just to support the work that we're doing, that would just be fine as well, you know.
Yeah.
So it's a fun afternoon. We invite all the plant lovers to kind of come. If you do come though, you should contact the garden club, and we do have it's at Almadam Garden Club at gmail.com.
Okay.
I have it out on the Facebook site. But if you do come, and we do have a plant swap, you have to bring a plant.
Well, of course. You have to
Plant.
have one to swap one.
Yeah, you have to have a plant, and you have to have a little package of seed.
Right.
And we'll do a little swap. We'll have a little fun Q&A. We'll have tea, coffee. We'll have a little treat, and then we'll do like the plant exchange, and then the plant sale. And if anybody would like to donate flowers to Anne's Healing
Yes,
Garden,
yeah.
which we've got going there that we have built.
It's beautiful.
You could do that as well.
Yeah. Well, I have attended a few garden club celebrations and events, and I've always enjoyed them. I've always thought they're such a nice, it's a nice welcoming bunch.
Yes. Yeah.
And that garden out in Rocky Bay is one of the most tranquil spots. I go there sometimes and just sit.
Yes.
And if you've never seen it, you should go check it out because it's really, really beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gail is Gail Hearn, who's a member, and she's the one that kind of helped create or design it through the work that she does. And she is kind of rebuilding it because it kind of got flat over the years. During the pandemic, we just didn't care for it.
No.
And now we're rebuilding it again. So yes, it is beautiful. Yeah, it is beautiful. And come to the garden. It is
Absolutely, come to the garden.
It is peaceful. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's peaceful. Yeah.
So it's always a pleasure to see you, Claire.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
I appreciate all the efforts that you make in keeping everybody educated.
Thank you very much.
So I hope everything goes great. Make sure that you go out and watch this Angelica presentation.
Yes.
Make sure.
That is a really important one. Yeah.
It's important for the future.
Yes, it certainly is. Yeah.
Really, really is.
Yeah, because this Woodland Angelica is not going away.
No.
It's very invasive and it's just going to keep damaging everybody's properties.
Right.
It's just you can't get rid of it. You know, so maybe he'll enlighten us. I'm sure he will.
Right on.
I'm sure he will. Yeah.
Okay, well.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank
See you next time.
Yeah. See you again. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.